So our theme this month is integral freedom, which is basically integrating everything in our lives and at the same time being totally free. So it's not freedom from everything, leaving the world, but integrating all of it and being completely free in the midst of all of it. Way to live. That's heaven on earth, in other words. And today our topic title is, what is that title? I totally blank. Our purpose is our path. Our path is our purpose. The path, your path is your purpose. I knew I'd get there. Thank you for putting it on the program. Your path is your purpose, because we all have a purpose. And that's what we're always told. And then we wonder, well, what is my purpose? And so we have all these workshops and classes and seminars. What is your purpose? Find your purpose. Do this tool and you'll find your purpose. And do this tool and you'll find your purpose. And do this and you'll find your purpose. And actually, the purpose, Ramana Maharshi in India said, I don't know why people spend so much time worrying about their purpose. They're going to live their purpose whether they like it or not. You can't not live your purpose. So what does that mean? It means your path is your purpose. And what is your path then? Your path is what you've already been living. Your path is what you can't help but live because you are who you are. So God is infinite. In the absolute, we're all absolutely pure being, pure consciousness, pure love, pure bliss. But then consciousness becomes form for a reason and becomes form in completely unique ways as all of us. So just as every thumbprint is original, all over the planet, there's not one thumbprint that's like another thumbprint. And the same is true of our soul print. There's not one soul print that is exactly like anyone else's soul print. So everyone on this planet, your whole soul, your whole beingness, though we meet in our oneness, it expresses a complete uniqueness. And in that uniqueness, the path that you have traveled is also unique. So everyone's path here, though there may be a lot of similarities, they are completely unique. If we all just started talking about what our path has been so far, it'll be completely different. No one has the same story. Nobody has the same path. And so our wonderful journey is to say our path and who we are is the same thing, what we've been traveling. And then when we recognize our path is our purpose on this planet, who we are is our purpose on the planet, then we get Ramana Maharshi's statement that you're going to live your purpose whether you like it or not, because you are who you are and you've been living the way you've been living. You can't help the way you've been living. So ultimately, your path is God's gift to you. As you discover and learn more about your path, you will discover that you've been given this incredible gift, this incredible unique story, this incredible unique journey. And that's why you are here, is your path, this unique journey you've been living. And that's your gift to this planet. That's your gift to God. Come on in. You're going to have to come all the way in the front because nobody else wants to sit in the... Oh, she can't. Nice. So we all have this unique path. And the two quotes that have been rolling around in my head this morning is Shakespeare's quote from Hamlet, to above all else, to thine own self be true. And then taking that, essential to being your own self is to know thyself. And that's an old Greek statement. A lot of times it's attributed to Socrates, but actually when Plato had Socrates say that, there was the understanding that Socrates was already getting this from an old Greek understanding. It was on the forefront of the the Oracle of Delphi. Know thyself. So the intention of today's talk is not to go anywhere, not to what you're striving towards, but to know who you already are, to become more clear, to know thyself, and then to thine own self be true. So that's our intention today, is to say, who have we been thus far, and in that, delight in it, to recognize that everything that we've been so far has been God's gift to ourselves. So we're going to do this by looking at Hinduism's 4 paths to God. For those of you who don't know, Carl Jung took the Myers-Briggs, the 4 personality types, from these 4 paths of God. He changed a little bit somewhat, but in general, that's what he based his personality types on. Because we all have styles, so we're all completely unique. We each do all of these styles differently, and at the same time, there's these 4 styles. Now, what's important as I share these 4 paths to God is not to box ourselves in. I remember when I was in ministerial school, it was my very first ministerial class, and it was a public speaking class, and she was saying, well, basically you have 4 types of people in your audience. Let's figure out these 4 types. She asked 2 questions. People answered them. And then she literally had 4 boxes and had the room, according to your answers, get in the 4 different personality types. And as she did that, one of my classmates just started crying and ran out of the room. And then when she came back, what she shared was that she felt so boxed in, literally boxed in, that she said, I've spent my life trying to break free from these identities, and suddenly you've put me back in a box, and I don't like the way it feels. So I say that as a precursor to, as we talk about these 4 paths, the purpose of them is to empower, to enlighten, to say, well, where do I resonate? What works for me? But if at any point these descriptions, if you start to feel confined or constricted or limited, discard it. Let it go. Okay? There's no, and this is about any modality, whether you're using the Enneagram or the Myers-Briggs test or astrology signs, it is there only to empower. If at any point it starts limiting your expression, then it's time to let that identity go, or that wall or that labeling to go. Labels can help us to know ourselves, but then they also will eventually become discarded. So I'm going to say just the titles of the first 4 paths, and what I want you to recognize is that we're all 4 of these. That's the degrees. Everyone here has all 4 of these, and the difference, our uniqueness, is the degrees, which we have all 4. So I just want you to feel them in your body, just hearing the names, and just see how do they feel to you. The first path to God is the path of knowledge. The second path, which is Jnana Yoga. Oh, and yoga in Hinduism means to yoke or to reunify with God. So when it says a path to God, what it is it's a path to reunification, to remembering our union and oneness in God. So the first path to God is knowledge. Second path, or they're not in any order, but a second path is Bhakti Yoga, which is devotion, love and devotion. The third path has different names. It's Karma Yoga, which can be action, work, or service to God. And the fourth path is Raja Yoga, through meditation, through the deep interior work. So those are the 4 paths to God. Just note how they land inside of you. Do you feel more connected with one of them than the other 3? Does one more resonate with you than the other 3? Is there one that you resist? Is there one you're just like, I'm definitely not. I'm the other ones, but not that one. The path of knowledge, Jnana Yoga. Bhakti Yoga, path of love and devotion. Karma Yoga, which is the path of action, service. And Raja Yoga, which is the path of meditation. So now I'm going to go through them a little bit, describe them each a little bit more. And so we can, again, this is all the purpose of this talk is to know thyself and to find where we are all of them and how much are you. So I'm going to begin with the one that had the most impact on my life. I've shared it before, but in the context of this, I want to share it again, which was when I first read this book, World's Religions, Houston Smith, The Description of 4 Paths. And I'd already, because I had studied Carl Jung, I was familiar with the 4 paths of God, but I only knew the titles, Path of Knowledge, Love, Service, and Meditation, and I resonated mostly with the path of love and sort of rejected the path of knowledge, which seemed completely dry and empty to me. So as I'm reading Houston Smith's description about the path of knowledge, he said something that immediately shifted how I understood it. He said the path of knowledge is not about having a lot of information. It's not someone who it's not encyclopedic. And that immediately, because that's what I know that I'm not. I don't read 1,000 books. And there are people in the Jnana Yoga and the Knowledge Yoga who do, but that wasn't my style. He said, Jnana Yogas, those who love to, is reflective. They're people who contemplate. And for these people, they take an idea and it becomes alive for them. For me, my experience is it's in my body. I actually read very slowly. If you see me reading a book, it probably may take me months to read it, because I read a paragraph and I'll just mull it around. I'll be with it. I'll let it sift through my body. And so as I was reading his description, this is where I had, I've shared this before, where I had the mystical experience that who I am and my path is one and the same. Because as I was reading it, I'm like, oh my gosh, I couldn't not be this if I tried. I mean, this is what I've done my whole life, not because I should or shouldn't. I just couldn't help it. That's who I am. So that's a key when we're discovering where we are, where our core energy is. We see that we've been this because we can't help it. So, and as I had that realization, then came the voice, your path and who you are is one and the same. It was not me. So when I say your path and you are the same, that's not coming from me. And as I was having this awareness, everything turned to light, the walls dissolved, I was one with the homeless guy on the street, I was one with everything, and it just continued on. I went to bed, and all this light came pouring with this word truth, just pouring into me. And for me, it was just this part of myself that I completely rejected, and yet, as soon as I saw it, I realized, oh my gosh, I think a lot. And I like to think, but here's the key. This is how I've shifted from reading. I'm so glad I went back and read World's Religion for the first time in 22 years, because now I look at it differently. So the way Houston Smith wrote these 4 paths is he separated them very definitively. It's this or this, and they were so the path of knowledge was very different than the path of love. And so the path of love is devotion, the feeling of The path of knowledge tends to be as we reflect. It's God in the third person. You get excited by ideas. Devotion is the second path, the bhakti. And he actually says this is where most of the people find joy, because there's nothing better than loving. And so if you're a person who just loves to love and loves passionately, and then as that evolves, you love God passionately in what we do. So there's a sense of service. I'm giving my love to God. I just have this adoration. And so there's a lot of adoration. This is much more rituals and sensual, and we feel it. And so if you have, Christianity is very bhakti yoga, this love of Jesus. It's inherently, the Jesuit Catholic monks are more path of knowledge, but most people have that more devotional. And then in Hinduism has all of the 4 paths really well. Buddhism, well, anyways, we won't go into it. But so the question is so where are you with love? And just start with first, is love, do you love animals? Is that what excites you in the morning, is just being in love with the day? And then that has become, as you've traveled your journey through your life, has become a love for God. How much does that activate and fuel you? Now, here's the key. This is why these are all different degrees. It's not either or. So the reason why I never identified with the path of knowledge, because when I was raised in a family of thinkers. But I completely disidentified with them because there was no love involved. So ideas by themselves were dry to me. I hated school. My brother loved school. He did great. And so when he said to me once, Harriet, you just think all the time, I was so surprised because I had already disassociated from that because I didn't like school, because it had nothing to do with love. Once I got that thinking and love combined, that animated for me that part of me that likes to think about ideas. So ideas are love for me. Oh, and let me so how one has a mystical experience at this reflective place. I was watching an interview once with Brother Wayne Teasdale. Has anyone ever heard of him? He's passed on, but he was a Catholic, I don't know if he was a monk, but priest, I don't know. I'm not, he was a priest? And he was definitely the path of knowledge. And he's describing to Ken Wilber, he and some of his colleagues are also path of knowledge. And they're walking through this garden and they're talking about these ideas of the universe. And he said, suddenly as we're talking, just the entire universe just opened up. And that's what the path of the reflective also can do, is as we're reflecting, it's not stale, it's alive, it's living, and the world opens up. For love, we open up, we experience, because our hearts are so wide open, we are passionately in love. And then the idea is, as we grow, we can evolve, and these two come together. The love and the intellect and the ideas come alive for us, and they actually become more real when we start unifying them in our being. So again, what has your path been? Look at your life. Who have you always been? What could you not do if you could? Even if someone said, don't do that, you couldn't help it. You have to do it. Like when I had Julian and I was up all night, I have to reflect. So it didn't matter how tired I was, I needed to reflect. I would be exhausted, but I'm like, I have to process because it's my mind will not let me not do it. What can you not help but be all your whole life and have these two aspects, the path of knowledge that we all think, everyone here thinks, everyone here loves. How is that shown up in your life? The third path is the path of karma yoga. This is the path of action. Houston Smith calls it work. I would say it's service. And this is where these are the doers in the world. My perception is that America really loves this path. We are a can-do nation. We like doers. You know, it's nice if you feel and you think, but are you getting things done? So there's a lot of validation for this path. And so the question is what's motivating all that doingness? And so on the spiritual, on the path to God, what's motivating it often is either the path of knowledge or the path of love. Is motivating it is I desire to serve God. I'm here to give, and that's sort of devotional. I'm giving all my work, all my action to God. Or is it more of the jnana yoga, which is it's an expression of love. I'm expressing love. I'm just expressing the inherent isness, the inherent love that I am, and I'm expressing love. But I have to express. I have to move and act and do things. So look at your life and just look at whether it's as an expression or as service or as generosity. I look at Jack. He could not do if you paid him. I mean, he would be miserable if he wasn't serving. So I always ask him to serve. I don't want him to be miserable. But it's true, if he has like 2 days at home and he's not doing something, he gets very grumpy because he has to. It's in his nature. Karma yoga. And so the question is, what's animating the karma yoga, right? And so who are you? Who's your path? Remember, your path is God's gift to you. And it's not going to be any one by itself. How do these three things play? How does your thinking, your heart, and your doing all integrate? What has your path been? Your path is your purpose on this planet. Your path is your purpose. The fourth path is the most interesting because it's meditation. Raja Yoga, the royal path. It's interesting because in our American culture, most of us were raised in the Judeo-Christian model, and there isn't really a meditation practice. So in Hinduism, where meditation is so integrated into their culture, it's effortless to take that on from a young age. Not too many children. There are some who I've met many people who said, well, not many, but I've met plenty of people who in their teens start seeking the Eastern traditions out, start seeking out meditation practice. But in general, we are not a meditative culture, and our religions are not meditative. So I was contemplating that. I'm like, well, what would that look like in America? And so I started thinking about things like Qigong, Tai Chi, Aikido, all these the physical modes. Ken Wilber talked about, who's been a lifelong meditator, and puts electrodes on his head, and you can see as he does different meditation practices, him changing his brain waves. So he's developed a certain level of mastery. And he said that when he started working out in the gym, that he actually would have the similar meditation states that he had when he was meditating. So I was thinking about our culture, our can-do culture, and there are people who, we obviously are a group that loves sports. And I think many people, I think really good athletes know what it's like to go into that zone, into that beingness. My brother's an atheist, but he's a great athlete, and there's no question he goes into that place where his mind completely shuts off and he's in beingness. And he can talk about it, he knows when he's in it, he knows how to get there quickly, and he likes it. I mean, it's an ecstatic feeling, not ecstatic, it's pure, it's an expanded feeling when we're in that state. So I think athletics, is a place that leads us into meditation. So most people may not realize that, but that's the process. I think of Ueshiba. Did I say his name right, Gail? Ueshiba, the founder of Aikido. Did I say his name right? I was reading a biography about him, and he's the founder of Aikido, and he mastered all these subtle states and all this energy. But as he got older, he was recognizing that all this was leading to this incredible interior place. So he got more and more still and let the physical part go more and more as he turned within to that quieter place. And that's the purpose of Hatha Yoga, which is to physically prepare ourselves to move into the interior. So for this path, the path of Raja Yoga, whether you have been a meditator your whole life, is there been a part of you that's been very physical that finds something holy and sacred in your physicality? Is there something that feels otherworldly when you are practicing whatever those physical sports are? Athletics or dance?
Music.
No, I don't know. Well, music's a little different, I would think. I'm thinking physical to go into the interior, because eventually it's got to lead to the meditation where you're completely stopping and just doing that interior work. I mean, because anything can be that, art or anything physical. I'm just thinking purely the physical feeling, because the Raja Yoga, the meditation, once you stop, it's actually you're doing a lot of interior. You're not just sitting there. You're doing a lot of interior breath work. You're doing energy work inside now. All that energy work you're doing outside, you're now doing inside. So it's not just sitting there. It's very active. So that part of you that's active, because I was also thinking about sports with karma yoga, and I think sports could be anything, but I'm just, for those of you who have been physical, has there been an interior holy process that you feel? Do you feel like you are more yourself when you're physical? Yes. Yeah, sex. The Tantra sex, yeah. And we definitely do that in the Western culture. You didn't even laugh. Jeez. That's part of our culture. So those are the 4 paths. So again, looking at your life, from your birth to where you are now. What is your path? What have you just been part of? Did you have to be physical because it fed you? It fed your soul. Yeah.
Could it be like testing the Holy Ghost? You know how you jump up and down, falling?
That would be a love.
Wouldn't that be a certain type of meditation?
No, well, it's all meditation. We have to recognize this is all unifying with God. So it's not like there's any more God in meditation. It's just that's a quieting.
I'm just saying, would that be like?
If it led to the stillness, but ultimately that would be more devotional. That's the ecstatic, I love God, and I'm feeling the Holy Spirit, and my heart's wide open. That's pure love and devotion. Yeah. But then you're moving away from the ecstatic into the, it can lead to the meditation. All of these, again, work together, so they lead to the meditation. Right. Right.
Cultures and stuff that you can.
The ecstatic, the swirling dervishes, the ecstatic energy. Right. So it's what's motivating it.
It's a lot of motivational type of thing.
Right. And is love motivating it? Is love that highest motivation? And then taking the time to be still. So how much in your journey have you been wanting to be still? How much do you really cultivate the stillness, the interiority? And so, again, there's no right or wrong here. That's often what cuts us off. What has been my path to God? What has been my journey? I mean us. What has been our journey thus far? Because that journey is your path. Path of thinking, path of feeling, path of action. I'm going to say thinking. I'm going to use reflection. Reflection, path of love and devotion. I love God with all my whole heart, body, mind, and soul. I give my entire being to it. Action, I have to give. I have to serve. I have to love humanity. Gandhi, Martin Luther King, they are men of service. Mother Teresa, they are men, women of service who have to give. So Gandhi is a very different spiritual leader in India than Ramana Maharshi, who went up on a hill and just sat in pure beingness. Gandhi was participating. Sri Aurobindo actually did both. That's why he's integral.
Speak to that for a second.
Well, because he did a lot of service. He was very involved in the politics, and then he withdrew and had an ashram. And for me, that is the evolution of what we're doing, which is why when I read the World's Religions books, I keep thinking it's over there. It's not. The World's Religions book, it was so separate. It was knowledge, devotion, karma, thing. But I think as we're evolving, they're all integrating far more and more inside of us. We become more and more, and the more conscious we become. I can't imagine not having a meditation practice. I can't imagine not doing service, having my life be about service. I do all four of them. I'm participating in all four of them. And there has been a predisposition. I do get excited about ideas. So that's there, but it's not, it's all the other things are essential or I'd be miserable. So any idea that we're just one thing, let's let that one go. We're not a box. We're infinite spirit with no walls. These are just 4 styles, and like I said, we all have different degrees. So then I was thinking, well, what's my invitation for you this week? And the first thing I thought of, my invitation is for you to go home and spend the week contemplating these 4 paths in your journey. And I thought, well, of course that would be my invitation, because I like to reflect on things. So reflect on it, love it, thank God for it, do something about it, and meditate on it. Integral yogis. That's my invitation, is engage all 4 paths. Remember, this is God's gift to you. Your path, your unique path, is who you are. Who have you been your whole life, and you can't help it? And who are you evolving? How have you been evolving these last 10 years, these last 5 years? Have you been integrating other aspects of these 4 paths that you've never integrated before? And recognize that that's not only who you are, it's not only your purpose, it's pure delight. So enjoy it. Enjoy God's intimate and passionate gift to each and every one of you. George. Yeah. And all 4 of them, there are personality types, introversion, extroversion, male, female. I mean, in all of them, we bring the different qualities of God, abundance, creativity, beauty, harmony, and they're just going to be expressed and experienced differently. And so, for instance, Path of Knowledge, it was interesting reading Houston Smith's book. He really said the path of knowledge are people who practice Vipassana meditation. In essence, he described Vipassana, which is mindfulness meditation, insight meditation, that time where we're always witnessing because it's detached. I'm like, that doesn't resonate with me at all. So I'm very contemplative, but that's not my practice. My practice is much more the Raja Yoga, the Kriya Yoga, and love. My reflection has to be filled with love, which is totally opposite of what he wrote. So be careful of clear definitions. There are no clear definitions. You are unique. Contemplate these 4 paths. How do you get past that one? Think about them. But then also thank God for them and love them. Is patience one of them? No, I'm kidding, George. Have what?
You have to do something, you have to learn things, you have to love and so on. But that's not really, that doesn't mean you can't release. It really just means that you're driven to find you want to do all those things you said earlier. I mean, you could say all those have to's.
Oh, when I say like I have to think, is that what you are referring to?
Right. So that doesn't sound quite right because it's not releasing, surrendering. But it is, so there's another reason for it.
Well, I appreciate you saying that because the have to is not external coming in. It's not saying you have to think. What I'm saying is I have to because it's inherent in my nature. So it's not an effort. It's not a have to with effort. It's effortless. I just do it. I guess, yeah. It's just the way I am. I just have to do it. He doesn't have to do it. I tell you that right now. And I don't have to work as hard as he does. So we have our inherent. The have to is really just the inherent essence. Yeah. We're compelled from within, though. None of this is from without. It's all from within.
Well, I knew I was never not
Yeah.
and not have any thought and not have any desire. By the time I was really fully into that, I thought I may as well be dead.
Right.
I may as well die
Yeah.
because life is so horrible for me. I actually accomplished that, but it was awful.
There's no joy in it.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
so what she's saying is that she has an inherently contemplative nature. She likes to reflect, and when she tried to stop herself from reflecting and stop thinking, that she could do it, but there was no joy in life for her anymore. So, yeah, it's painful. So that's part of the have to, because without it, there's no joy. The expression of one of these paths is joyful. That's why I was saying it only is here to expand us. If any aspect of it is limiting or constricting, then we know we're something's off and we want to let it go. You had your hand up, didn't you? I love you guys. Did you want to say something?
No, I'm good.
Okay.
I'm just doing something over here.
Okay. So is there anything else before we turn to prayer? Wait, I knew there was something else. Wait.
So do you find it at different times in your life, different stages, you're heavier in these? So is it?
I don't know. Do you?
I do.
Okay. Well, then you answer. Yeah.
Heavier, and then it's changing.
It's shifted.
Yeah, it's shifting.
Yeah, that's
So-
part of the growth.
So I'm wondering, was I out of alignment with my true path, or was that just part of it?
No, you're including it. So there's something called an integral called transcend and include. So as we continue to evolve, we often leave. If it's no longer serving us, we leave it. But if it's part of who we are, we integrate it. So we include everything that's gone before us that serves us. We just transcend and are adding more to it. So we want to include. The stuff that didn't serve us growing up, we can let go. But the stuff that served us, we include into our growth and evolution. So for instance, me learning Kriya Yoga and really practicing what would be Raja Yoga for the last several years. I've been doing meditation for a long time, but this particular meditation practice, it doesn't preclude my reflective side, but it's just an expansion and a deepening of what I was doing. So that's evolution. So our paths are evolving. Who we are, hopefully, is evolving and becoming more and more infinite. But it's also good to know what our roots and our foundation are, our unique roots. So you guys ready to pray? Let's pray. Let's be devotional in our prayer today. So sometimes I do sometimes I do the first person prayer. Today I'm going to do a devotional prayer. Bhakti Yoga, the devotion. So we are turning within to that ever-presence love. Dear Mother, Father, God, infinite and eternal being of love and of light and of joy and of wisdom. You that know everything, that loves everything, and that you that are fully in me now. You are fully in each and every one of us in this room. There is nothing in this room that isn't you. You are my divine beloved, that which loves itself passionately, intimately, sensually, creatively, abundantly, prosperously, lovingly, beyond our wildest imagination. You are here now, activating new ideas in our awareness, activating new emotions in our heart, activating new feelings in our body. You are opening us up to a transcendence, to our transcendent self, to our energy bodies and our causal bodies. You are awakening as each and every one of us here so that we know that we are whole, perfect, and complete all of the time, that we are never missing or lacking anything. There's nothing within us that needs to be changed or fixed. In you, in your love, we are whole. In you, we are already perfect. In you, we are already your divine beloved. And so in this incredible oceanic love that you are and pouring into us moment by moment, breath by breath, all throughout our day, I just say thank you. Thank you, divine beloved, infinite and eternal one, Mother, Father, God. All that you are is infusing us and creating as us and expressing as us this day, that as we go forth, we are giving your love to each and every person with whom we come in contact. We are pouring and overflowing in love for each and every individual, giving whatever needs to be said. We know that these are your words that are being said. We are hearing whatever we need to hear because they are your words that are being spoken. We are doing whatever you want us to do because we are here for you, my beloved, my infinite and eternal one. We are a community dedicated to our love for you. And we know that you in return have already given all your love, all that you have ever been and ever will be to all of us right here and right now. So for deep and abiding joy and love and peace and wonderment of your love, I just say thank you, God. And in deep abiding joy, I just give this word over into your power, into your presence, into your love that is at the center of our beingness. And I surrender it, knowing that as it is spoken, it is done. Your power, your will is done as all of us here now. And so in that peace and in that joy, I just let this word be now.